I'm Susan Wheeler, and I'm on the Balboa Peninsula in Newport Beach. My colleague Bill Hemberger is less than a mile away on Balboa Island, and we will be exploring both the island and the peninsula on today's Beyond the Gates program. Now, Balboa Peninsula is a long, thin neck of land between the harbor on one side and the ocean on the other. And on the ocean side, there are literally miles of beautiful white sandy beaches and 2 piers. And on the harbor side, there are many, many interesting things to see, including the historic Pavilion. But now, let's send it over to Bill to learn about the historic Balboa Island Ferry.
Today, I'm at a place I've always wanted to be at, Balboa Island, and right by the Balboa Island Ferry, and we have with us Nate. Do you like Captain Nate or Nate Capra?
Nate's just fine.
Now, is the Capra part of the movie family at all?
You know, I get that a lot, and I'm not going to say that I haven't used that when necessary, but not officially part of the Capra film legacy.
It's a wonderful life.
It is a wonderful life.
Now, are you the head of operations for the ferry?
I'm the operations manager here, yes. So I do the recruiting, schedule the training. I'm also kind of the HR person, safety training. Wear a lot of hats.
Now it says Captain Nate on your nameplate. Are you also, is it a ferry pilot? Is that what you?
Yeah, we call them captains here,
captains,
masters.
Okay.
But yes, no, I do have my 100-ton captain's license. I came here in 2010 originally as a captain and just started with 1 shift a week, and eventually a few years ago they put me in this role. But the first time I renewed my captain's license, which was after working here about 2 or 3 years, I calculated all the landings I'd made here, and it was well over the thousands and into the millions.
So it's you got plenty of hours as being a skipper or a captain. The ferry has been privately owned, correct, for many years?
Since the Balboa Island Ferry came into existence in 1919, put into service by Joseph Allen Beek, it has been in the Beek family ever since. It's under operations now by Seymour Beek, who is Joseph Allen Beek's son, and he is the current company president.
Now, I mean, the ferry itself operates during the day at what times?
Right now, we're running from 6:30 until midnight daily. There are certain times of the year where we run till 2 a.m. if there is the demand for that and the need. There have been some times in the ferry's history where we ran 24 hours.
Wow. During
some busier times of year. We haven't done that for a while.
So that the schedule basically is you gauge how many people may be on the island, and just maybe
typically we will run 2 boats back and forth from about 7:30 till 10. We'll be in operation until midnight, but we'll go down to 1 boat at 10. And then on the weekends and sometimes on Fridays, we'll run 3 boats just because people are off work. This is where they want to go to enjoy that weekend, and we have that higher traffic.
Now, and the boats they've not always been powered by diesels. I mean, was there one time carriage or horse-drawn ferries? I don't think horses can't go on the water, but
not on these here. Back in the original ferry, the very first ferry that Joseph Allen Beek put into service was actually a rowboat with a motor on the back. It was a motorized rowboat. I will tell you this.
And taken across horses and livestock and...
So my wife is an equestrian, and we have asked Seymour several times if he recounts if there's ever been an instance of horses being brought back across. He can't think of a moment where that's happened, but you would think that might have happened in the ferry's history.
What has been the most unique thing come across in a ferry? What's been been carried on a truck or something?
Well, probably some of the most unique things we bring across are very unique cars. There's a car show that takes place or did take place over on the peninsula from time to time on the weekends. So that was a great opportunity to see some real classic cars come back and forth.
Yeah.
BMWs that they used to make this pod. I believe it had just 1 wheel up front, 2 in the back, and would only hold 2 people. And I had a father-son come across in one of those once. But another crossing we had, I would love to get the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile.
Oh, sure, yeah, yeah.
Haven't had that one yet, but we did have a guy on a bicycle with a small trailer, and it had this giant, I want to say it was a rhinoceros sculpture on that, and that was certainly unique.
Is it going to a parade or something?
You know, a lot of the strange things we see, we don't necessarily always get the explanation, but we also get a lot of interesting vanity plates.
Sure,
well.
oh yeah.
A lot of interesting vanity plates. Sometimes we can decipher them, sometimes not.
Now, we're here in Southern California, which I like to refer to as there's no drastic weather at any time. Is there anything that's going to stop a ferry from going across any type of weather?
It's very rare for us to have a shutdown. Every once in a blue moon, though, it might happen. These boats are very unique. They're incredibly maneuverable, but you got to really get used to them to be able to take advantage of everything they can do for you. So pretty much regardless of the current, we can get these boats into the slip. Now, we're coming in at an angle, and one of the little laughs I've gotten from driving the ferry is I'll be driving in, and I'll have passengers looking at me wondering why I'm taking them to the fuel dock, when in reality I'm going to have to do a big swing into the slip at the last minute. But we can prepare for that current.
Sure.
These boats have very little keel, and so we're a little bit more prone to the wind. It would be rare for us to shut down just for a strong wind, but those very rare situations where we have had to temporarily suspend service, and usually you're talking an hour, you've had a moderate wind stacked on top of a moderate current going the same direction. That can be pretty tricky.
Besides the weather, I would think some of the challenges of a skipper would be just the traffic. You know, the sailboats and other boats. And with a sailboat, the sailboat under sail, correct? It has the right of way.
Correct. We are, if you were to look at a chart of the area, it does denote there was a ferry channel here or a ferry lane. There's nothing official about that like in other parts of the globe or parts of the United States. So we are here beholden to the same rules of the road that you would find anywhere else.
One of the questions I wanted to ask was the show Arrested Development took place on Balboa Island. See any famous people come across on the ferries?
We do have celebrities who cross from time to time. We try and be respectful of their time and their own personal outing, but most recently probably either Courtney or Khloe Kardashian came down here. In the past, one of our older captains told me there's a story on a very busy day. Someone hopped in the wheelhouse and started fiddling with the radio. And the captain, we're very
excuse me,
territorial about our wheelhouses. And you ask, hey, what are you doing? It was John Wayne. He didn't realize it at the time, but he just wanted to get away from the crowd and listen to the game. So he was tuned into the radio.
So he thought the captain's radio, the skipper's radio, could tune in the Dodgers or the Angels.
I believe they had a VHF and a music radio at the time. So, but probably the most positive celebrity encounter that I've heard about on the ferry was Gary Sinise. He was out with his mother. I don't know if it was Mother's Day, but he was out giving her an outing. The crew just gave him a very quick, hello, thank you for your work, and he was just an incredibly nice, kind person, and yes, I would be happy to have him on my boat. But,
as you are, for your time to let us do this.
Oh, I happy to. It sounds like a great thing you're doing here, and Wolfgang in particular, one of the residents at the village, is a longtime regular of mine, so happy when he asked about it.
I know Wolfgang, and he's often talked about the Lido deck. Has the Lido deck been built yet?
So we have some wonderful regulars who come across on the ferry, and Wolfgang is one of them. And he and his wife, the first time they came on my boat, she jokingly asked where the drinks served. Not the first time I've gotten that question, and my response is typically, drinks are served on the Lido deck.
Lido deck.
We just haven't built it yet.
I see.
And so after that, every time Wolfgang and his wife would come on my boat, she would ask, how's the Lido deck coming along? Is the Lido deck finished?
And your response was?
We're still working on it.
We're still working on it.
Still working on it. But we have some great regulars around here, and I make sure to let whoever's interviewing or training know that one of the cool things about this job is you get to meet some new people, you get to introduce them to this area. Yeah. People have never seen it before.
Sure.
But then you have some great locals. There's just the nicest couple lived down the street when my daughter was born. They were down here with a baby blanket that they knit for her. So just it's a great community, and I'm very happy to be a part of that working on the ferry.
Excellent. Nate, thank you very much for your time here.
Of course.
And Hope to use the ferry a lot.
Hope you do too.
Okay. And now let's see what's happening with Susan.
Clustered around the Newport Pier, you'll find many interesting restaurants. There's the Crab Cooker, the Flying Fish, and any number of small, little hole-in-the-wall, great restaurants. But to the right of me here at Newport Pier, you'll find the remnants of the historic dory fleet of small fishing boats that would bring in fresh caught fish every morning. Now we're in the oldest building on Balboa Peninsula, the Pavilion. This building dates back to more than 100 years to 1906. This building has been used for many things over the years. In the 1920s, it was originally a bathhouse where you could just walk in here in your street clothes and rent a bathing suit and head out to the beach. Later on, it was used for dancing. The second floor was turned into a ballroom, and people would come here to dance up a storm. Actually, this is where the dance, the Balboa, originated. It was kind of a slow, smooth dance. And jitterbug was also popular at the time, but interesting enough, jitterbug was not allowed on the second floor upstairs because they were worried the floor might collapse. So after the dancing times came the 1930s with the big bands. And let me tell you, these were the big bands that came here. It was Count Basie, Jimmy Dorsey, the Benny Goodman Band. Bands played here. And there was even a competing ballroom down the street called the Rendezvous, where people would come here from all over. They would take the Red Line, which was the Pacific Electric Railway line, and come here by the thousands to dance, not only here at the Pavilion, but also at the Rendezvous, competing dance club just a few blocks over here. So there were lots of exciting things going on during the 1930s. And think of it, it was right after the Depression. People were looking for things to do. In the 1950s, I believe it was, it actually turned into a bowling alley upstairs. Then there was a bit of gambling going on, until the sheriff stepped in the 1950s, so they say, who stopped the bingo games, thinking they were a wicked habit, and the community would not allow it. So anyway, it's a very rich history, the whole Pavilion and the Balboa Peninsula. And among other things, the Pavilion now houses the Harborside restaurant. And here with me today is restaurant manager Justin Turner, who's going to fill us in on the Harborside restaurant.
Thank you, Susan.
Justin, it's a pleasure to be here today, and I just love hearing about the history of the restaurant. What a rich, fabulous time that was. But I want to hear now more about the Harborside restaurant and what you specialize in and what people can expect to find here.
Sure, my pleasure. So Harborside started in 2004 when the Salisburys purchased the building.
Okay.
It used to hold a restaurant named Kale the Whale that many will remember for it's around here for about 35 years.
Okay.
The Salisburys purchased it, and they did a little renovation to get things back up to speed. And we've been going ever since. So we've got a great dining room on this side. We have a saloon on the other side where we have a very popular happy hour that we do every day. It's got all kinds of drink specials, small plate items.
Ooh.
Great for the locals and regulars, everybody that stumbles in. So we really try to be open for all of our guests.
Okay, that's wonderful. Tell me the hours of the happy hour.
So our happy hour currently is every day from 12 to 6.
All right. Oh, it's a nice, generous happy hour.
Give you some time to get here.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. And then any bestsellers on the happy hour menu, special drinks or anything?
Yeah, so we have Mai Tais and margaritas are some of our biggest things, and then glasses of wine, draft beer, all those kind of great items there.
Okay.
And then we have a lot of small plates. Our happy hour is really all about the food. We have about 20 different food items that range anywhere from $5 to $8. So we have calamari, fish tacos, shrimp cocktail, coconut shrimp, all those kind of items on there.
Okay, that sounds like a happy hour to remember.
Absolutely.
Okay, and then the restaurant itself. What a lovely big place this is with a fabulous, fabulous view of Balboa Island and watching the boats go by. And people must fight for window seating here, but tell me what kind of entrees and food can they expect here?
They really do. I mean, we do have a beautiful view, one-of-a-kind view here, and you never know what you might see out there while you're enjoying your lunch or dinner. Yeah, we have all kinds of different items on our lunch menu, a little casual sandwiches, soups, salads, some fish items, things like that. And then for dinner, we have a lot of different fresh fish, steaks. So we have one of our house favorites is our orange coconut crusted salmon. That's been on the menu since day one. And it's a little sweet, little different take on just a regular salmon. Right. We always have scallops, swordfish. We always have different steaks, filet mignon, New York steaks, things like that.
And it's all fresh fish here.
Absolutely.
Oh,
absolutely.
good to
So
know.
we bring that in every day. Our chef cuts that in the back, and we're here for you.
All right, a go-to place for fresh fish. I love it, and good watching here. Now you said you see all sorts of things in the harbor here. Like, what kind of unusual things do you ever see? I mean, you have the Christmas boat parade, which is just fabulous.
Yeah. So we have the Christmas boat parade, which is incredible. 5 nights, beautiful. The boats come by during the boat parade. We actually sell all the tables, so you actually reserve your specific table. We take reservations for that every year, the day after Labor Day. So
oh my gosh!
Give me a call in the morning. We'll book your table, and you'll be all set. So you can come on down, and you don't have to worry about the hassle. You just come on down, get seated, and enjoy your dinner and enjoy the parade.
Can people stay here as long as they want?
They can, yeah.
They can?
Yeah. Normally people, they'll have dinner, watch the parade once it goes by one time.
Well, that's enough.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's a one-of-a-kind type thing.
Oh, I bet.
But yeah, traditionally when you're sitting here, you've got the whale watching boats coming in,
Sure.
You've got people fishing, you've got people kayaking, paddle boarding. Occasionally you'll see some dolphins coming through. You'll see seals.
All right.
So it's fun for the kids. It's fun for everyone. It's really just a little more fun than your typical night out.
Oh, it's a real special occasion kind of place, I would think. Now, upstairs is no longer, well, obviously there's no dancing going on upstairs anymore. So what does happen upstairs? Do you ever move part of the restaurant into upstairs? Or?
So upstairs we do private events. So we do a lot of weddings, company parties, different celebrations, birthdays, really anything over about 60 people to up to about 500. So it's a large room up there.
500 people
Absolutely.
can fit in there?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I had no idea.
Yeah, so it's got the original dance floor up there, so there is still some dancing. So if you get married, you're going to have some dancing.
Oh, well, this is something to think about.
That's right.
All right.
Yeah.
What a perfect view up there. And I imagine now what about at Christmas time? You must book that for... And
a lot of company parties.
Right after Labor Day, I would assume, too.
Yeah, so a lot of company parties up there, different businesses, local businesses. Really, you name it, we've done it. It's a lot of people have been up in that room.
Yeah, I can imagine. What a history. Well, Justin, it's been a pleasure talking with you today and filling us in on this fascinating place with fabulous food, and I look forward to coming here again.
Thank you so much. We hope to see you soon.
You bet. Bye-bye. Okay, Bill, I understand you're on the island today while I'm on the peninsula. Well, you are really missing out on a special deal here, but I look forward to hearing what you're up to.
I'm here now at the Balboa Island Museum in Newport Beach, and Celeste, dinner line. It's dinner line, correct?
Correct.
For some reason, I want to go dinner line and think of a cruise ship. But now, what's your title here at the museum?
I'm the chairman of visitor experience here at the Balboa
Chairman
Museum.
of visitor experience, as opposed to the vice president of
everything.
Everything. Now, who? I mean, Balboa Island was devised by somebody. I mean, who was the brainchild?
Well, the property of most of Newport Beach was purchased by William S. Collins from McFadden, when McFadden's whole dream of making this a big shipping port went away.
Okay.
And so he purchased that in 1902, all of that property, and he decided that he could make more money if he had more land, and so he dredged the bay in order to make the island. Every island in this bay is dredged except for Bay Island. That was
How many islands are there?
There's 8.
Really? 8 islands? Wow. But they're not, I mean, why Balboa, first off? The name Balboa.
Named after, of course, Balboa the explorer, the first person to see the Pacific Ocean.
There's obviously been a lot of famous people through here. Here at the museum, there are many pictures of many celebrities, such as John Wayne. Were there any movies ever made here?
Lots of movies made here. The Charlie Chaplin made a bunch of movies just off of here, featuring the Pavilion and the jetty area.
His studio wasn't here, though. It was up there.
No, there's no there was no studio here. But what they could do is they could come down here from Hollywood, use the bay, Crystal Cove, and it was still fairly uninhabited, so they could make it look like other places.
Now, it wasn't the movies that started to make the place so popular. Was there one in particular thing? It was just the draw of the beach or something that made it popular?
The red car.
The red car.
When the red car was put in here in 1905, it reached Newport. In 1906, it reached Balboa. That's why they built the pavilion, our beautiful pavilion, which is right here, the replica. They built that to be a bathhouse, to entice people to come down here from Los Angeles. It took an hour. It cost $1. And you could come down here. And when you got off the red car, you were met by a realtor with a sign that said free lunch and a boat ride. And what they want to do is to drive you around this bay to see lots and buy the lots. The problem is this was happening. He bought that land in 1902. He develops this up through like 1913. And now you're getting into World War I. And you might be able to buy a car at that point as well. Price of a car is about $300, same as a lot. It was a great plan to put together and to sell these lots. Collins was not successful. He ended up going bankrupt because he couldn't sell all these lots and because so many of the men went off to war.
From living in Laguna Woods Village, one of the popular things around the holidays is to mention the boat parade. When did that start? Was it hundreds of years? 200 years?
Well, we know that we had a boat parade here over 100 years ago. And it basically started when there was a gentleman who was bringing down some people to look at real estate. And he took them out on his boat and he lit them all up, the boat up, and he drove them through the bay. After that, a gondolier put lights on his gondola and took people for tours around the bay. And then there was a large 4th of July celebration, and I think it was 1906, where they had a big reenactment of the Battle of Manila in the bay.
Wow.
And there were thousands of people here to watch it, and boats that were lit surrounded it to watch it. And that was kind of the beginning of it.
What can people see here at the museum when they come in?
Well, we call ourselves the Balboa Island Museum of Newport Beach because we have history of all of Newport Beach here. We have our first pod is our gallery where we feature local artists, and we rotate that. So you can always come in.
It's always fresh.
About every 2 months and see something different. Our next pod is 10,000 years of history. So we start with the how people got here, Native Americans. Well, not dinosaurs. That's longer than 10,000 years ago. But Native Americans, and we go through the explorers, the ranchos, the missions. We tell you how Newport got its name. And then we go through the Jameses, James Irvine and James McFadden. And then we show you then early history of the Balboa Island with the Hershey family and Collins and how he actually dredged and built up this island.
Well, Celeste, thank you very much for your time today. I know you're busy, and you're a volunteer here, right?
That's right.
That takes a lot. I mean, that's a calling to volunteer your time to help people out like ourselves here. Again, Thanks for your time
Thanks.
today.
It's a pleasure to have you here today.
Sure.
I hope that your residents will come up and visit us.
We hope so too.
All right, thank you.
Sure. And now, let's go see what Susan's talking about.
Balboa Peninsula has not just one, but two piers. The Balboa Pier here and the Newport Pier about 2 miles away. At the end of the Balboa Pier, we find a Ruby's restaurant. But this isn't just any Ruby's. This is the very first Ruby's restaurant. At the very tip end of the Balboa Peninsula, you'll find the Wedge, popular with surfers for really high waves. Now, these waves can sometimes be between 15 and 30 feet high, and it happens between May and October of every year. And a popular pastime is for tourists and locals alike to come down on the beach with a cup of coffee to watch the greatest show on earth. Let's take a look.